you don't have to chase joy. You create it. You
Mm-hmm.
can build it from the small things. Like if the warm sunlight brings you joy, that's awesome, right? If it's good music, if it's um, just a word of encouragement from someone that deeply loves you, like whatever it is, even when it feels far away, it's never fully gone, right? Like it can wait for the right time, the right moment, um, even sometimes silently, but it's always there faithfully.
What is good, y'all? It is your boy, Jonathan Dumas, and this is Highly Visible and a Little Misunderstood, the show where we talk to the people we see every day because we don't know what we miss until we miss them. And y'all, we are still on break, but I hope you've been well. I've been thinking about y'all, all the listeners, all the watchers. I appreciate y'all, as always, for tuning in really quickly as we, drop in to your feeds with a little something extra. As I mentioned before, we're gonna be on break for a little while. I don't know how long exactly. I think we'll be back February or March, somewhere around there. But I'm really excited about the next theme. I already know it. I haven't changed my mind, even though I thought I was, but I'm locked in on it. But in the meantime, while we're gone, we're probably gonna be dropping something in the feed. I know for sure on YouTube. So if you're listening on audio, find us on YouTube at Highly Visible Pod, or just search Highly Visible and a Little Misunderstood on YouTube. You'll find us there. Subscribe so you don't miss anything that we're going to be dropping. I know for sure we're going to be dropping on YouTube, but there's probably going to be some one-off episodes that we do on the audio side, or well, both sides, audio and video. But we'll also probably drop some like updates and stuff like that on the audio side, but we are going to probably be most active on the video side. There's just so much stuff that we've never put out as far as like video, and so we want to have some fun. Reggie and I have been talking a lot about like some cool things that we can do. So you just gotta stay tuned, man. Yeah, and I kind of don't want to say what I'm currently working on because I'm afraid it's not going to come out, because I've also been saying it for like 3 years. I'm just gonna say it. Newsletter. I am actually working on a newsletter, so y'all can stay up to date with all kinds of stuff. When that drops, y'all will be the first to know, and I promise it's gonna drop. I am not a liar. Anyways, for today on this episode, we have been thinking about some of the episodes that we did not share with y'all during the Joy season, and there was some really good ones. And this one in particular, like, broke my heart that it couldn't drop. So I'm so excited to share this conversation I had with my friend Tamara Wall, where we talked about parenthood, legacy, joy, the legacy of joy, and passing that down and what that means, and kind of processing our own ways of how we grew up understanding joy and how we want those coming after us to experience and know and continue that legacy of joy. It was just such a very, I don't know, I feel like all my conversations that I have are in one way or another just like really grounded and inspiring and hopeful and all the things. But Tamara just brings a little extra something to the conversation, which is why I knew I had to release it in one way or another to the world. So I'm really excited for you to catch this and tap into this. So stay tuned throughout the episode. Listen to all these tidbits because she is absolutely wonderful. Anyways, here is my friend Tamara Wall. I've been having people on talking about joy and stuff like that. And every opening has been different because I'm trying to find some authentic way to do it, to get into the conversation. But it hasn't happened yet. And we're just going to roll. So I'm really excited to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. How are you doing today?
I am well. I am energized. I'm feeling productive. Yeah, I'm in a good space today. It's a good day.
Nice. Before we dive into conversations around joy as resistance, kind of like some of the things that we talked about, like offline,
Mhm.
I would love to just open the floor to you to share who you are, because we've chatted multiple times, and I think I was I think I was a presenter. Was I leading a focus group? That's how I met you. Yes, that's right. So not focus group. like coaching groups. So that's how we met. So that's yeah, we family, whatever. But I want people to get to know you and who you are and the dope work you're doing, and everything like that. So the floor is yours.
Okay, so
So
who is Tam? That's a loaded question because it depends on what part of my life we're talking. So if
yeah,
I'm working, Tam is, a tech leader, which I love. Tech is not diverse at all, but I love being in that space and helping people find their passions within that space. So I'm a tech leader. I'm a mom first before anything. I love my kids. I'm a cheer mom, proud cheer mom. So
nice.
love spending time with my kids. I'm also an advocate, and I am a huge DEIB, like, y'all need to fix these systems and things like that too. So I'm very active in my community. I sit on school boards and different community boards, just talking about education and STEAM and tech and diversity and equity, what that looks like truly, not the performative side of it that they want to push down your throat. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I'm just very, I guess Tam is just a, a leader in many different spaces. I'm a proud mom. I'm a proud Black woman. That when we talk about joy, like that's one of the things that I think I didn't always own that, trying to fit into
Mm.
different molds. But um, I'm just a very just confident person who loves to use her voice to advocate for people. I love having conversations about different things and getting to know people. And um, yeah, I just want to leave the world a little bit better than when I came. So
I love that. Hell yeah, I like that. I resonate with the like blackness aspect because that's something that I didn't always like fully embrace. And there was, internalized anti-blackness. It wasn't even like internalized racism. It was internalized like anti-blackness, right? And so I think growing out of that and unlearning some of these things and like really embracing and kind of like confronting a lot of like the anti-blackness that uh, was fed to me and I bought into and I like perpetuated. Coming out of that has just been like, oh man, I just love being black. Like I love us.
yes,
I love, yeah, it's just,
I,
there's nothing in the world like it. It's just like, y'all want to be us so bad that you like try and like make us feel bad for being black, but then turn around and like try and act like it's just wild to me. So I just love, I'm already here, man. There's nothing you could do
I
to take me out of
literally
it.
love how we will take lemons and make Sprite and lemonade and lemon drops and everything else out of life, right? Like I just love
Yes.
Black people. So yeah,
Yes. Yes, it's so fun. So it's fun being black. It's fun being black. I should have worn my sweater like, you know, shit kind of dangerous, but still dope. But I love it so much. I think what is really really cool, and you had mentioned this a little bit, is like your like activeness in the community. School boards, other community boards, advocacy and work, different things like that. Especially just being um, oftentimes like that's the only right, especially in tech spaces. Like, and you also had mentioned that like you have embraced your blackness. Like, how did those two meet together?
yeah.
Does that question make sense?
No, it does. It does.
Okay,
And
sweet. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So I've been working for a while, and you're right. I'm used to being the only. I grew up in a predominantly white school district, so I was often the only in a lot of different things. So that wasn't unfamiliar for
Mm,
me. And then when I got into corporate America, I kind of felt like a unicorn. My mom worked in a hospital. My dad worked in a different center, but I wasn't really prepared for like what does office politics look like and what is professional within the
mm,
corporate space and all those things. So I was always not only the only one, but I oftentimes was like getting it wrong. I guess whatever it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Put it that in quotes.
yes,
Yeah. Put
getting
that in
it
quotes.
wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
but when I started realizing, okay, you're the only one, um, I started to wanted to blend in because I didn't like that. I was so uncomfortable with that until I really
Mm,
got into leadership. And then the higher I went, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really am the only one, but I'm not the only one because no one's qualified. I'm the only one because there's systems that are broken and there's
yeah.
pipelines that are broken. And so after that, I'm like, well, you know what? You've learned a few things. You're pretty smart. Why don't you, look into ERGs, and why don't you, try to get curious and understand why this is. And then as I started seeing just how broken a lot of these systems were when it comes to the diversity aspect of it, then that's when I was like, you know what? Okay, great. You are the only one. You're going to use your voice, and you're also going to capitalize on the fact that you're the only one. They have you here as this token. You're going to
Mhm.
maximize the token. So that
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
the only one allowed me to kind of get into their spaces. That allowed me to take their tactics and use that against them. That now you have me at this table. Okay, now you're going to hear what I have to say. Uh,
Hmm.
and in doing that, as I started using my voice more and started actually seeing small changes, because I don't want to give the impression that like I went in and things just changed drastically. They didn't. And some things are still broken, but you're also going to still hear me pushing and advocating and fighting for those things. So that's when I started getting that proud, like, you know what? First of all, like you come from a long lineage of strong Black people who have paved the way for you to even have a voice, let alone use
Hmm.
it. So I wanted to sit in that. And then once I became a mom, and my daughter was in the same district that I grew up in, and we're still tackling some of those same things that I was tackling 20 plus years ago. That wasn't acceptable to me. I wanted her to have a different experience. I want her from an early age not to be questioning her Blackness. I want her to be confident in it and love it and embrace it, as that's one of her superpowers as she's in these different spaces. And so in order for that to happen, I had to sit at these tables. I had to be able to advocate and say, no, that doesn't seem right, or we need to change this part of the curriculum, or we need to explore these other options. And so it really has been a holistic journey, but a lot of it more just came from being a mom, not wanting my daughter to have the same experiences that I was having, really wanting to embrace the broken systems and see, okay, great, like they need to be changed, but also if they have me in these spaces, capitalize on that. If you're here, use your voice.
Mm.
And then in doing that, it just gave me such a greater appreciation for not only the struggle parts, because um, this society will want you to um, lean on the struggles of being Black. Yeah, there's
Yep.
struggles there, but there's also generational success, and there's generational joy and generational happiness that comes. And I wanted to embrace that too. It wasn't all just pain. There was lots of great
Hmm.
stuff too. And so I take all of that. I have add my own flavor to lots of different things. I'm proud of where I came from. I'm proud of who I am. And I'm proud of where my kids are going to go to. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think the bridge that I see in just like that connective tissue of what you said is around, like, I'm a mom and there are certain things that I went through that I experienced that I don't want them to experience, and being their advocate, like being the advocate and being like the example that you wanted. And I'm not, I don't know your parents, I don't know your story, you didn't actually really mention that aspect of it, but I think even for me, my mom was amazing. Like my mom like really like raised all three of us, myself and my two brothers, to be connected to our emotions. Like it's okay to feel, be sad or whatever, and all those different things. And but there were certain aspects that like my mom did not talk about. My mom was not like a corporate person or anything. Very similar. My mom like worked retail, some office jobs, but not like necessarily corporate. And so I was like the first to do that and learning those different things and seeing how these systems were broken. It was very interesting to me. And so I love to see like in very similar ways for myself, like I don't want nobody to experience like and just like go through the just like wander. It's just like being in the desert alone without any tool, map, compass. Like I don't want nobody to experience that. And like that's where my advocacy from. But I love how like deep and personal it is for you. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later. So I love that. You mentioned before that like joy is like an act of resistance, and I even hear it in what you've said around I am here. I like love who I am. I've embraced my skin. I love like all aspects of myself, and just the very act uh, and doing that you had mentioned is like resistance, especially for being Black. Um, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
yeah,
What does that mean to you, like personally?
yeah. So um, you know, I've had some experiences. I've lived some life, and there's different things that have happened that really um, probably could have shut me down. They did at some points in my life. There's different stages where I did shut down for a bit, but really it whether it was me as a woman, me as a Black person, me as a Black woman, um, there were lots of things that happened that really tried to steal my joy and wanted to keep me down. And on a spiritual level, because I very much am a Christian woman as well, I understand too that that's one of the tactics, right? Like, the enemy comes and he wants to keep you downtrodden and not believing the promises for your life and all those different things. And so
Mm,
for me, whether it's on the spiritual or the natural, when you have those different forces that are coming at you and trying to bog you down with grief or depression or trauma or whatever the case may be, it is definitely important that you try to grasp any part of joy that you can, and that's what I do.
mm,
um, I wasn't always confident. I didn't always think that I was beautiful or smart or worthy or deserving or all the different things. And so my part of my healing journey and pushing back was, no, I'm going to own those things. I'm going to get comfortable and confident in who I am, and I'm going to embrace every side of that. And I'm going to
mm,
be joyful doing that, right? Like, life is hard enough, but I get such excitement from just being in spaces that are sunny. You mentioned traveling. Like, I love to travel. I love color. I love adventure. I love eating festival foods and food truck foods with my kids. Like, those are the things um, that I had to take different circumstances. Being a single mom, having to raise my kids by myself, that could bog you down definitely. So my
mm,
joyful resistance to that is I'm going to enjoy as many moments as I can with these kids that I made, regardless of
mm,
who's not present, regardless of what the conversations look like outside of that. My kids are going to have a happy childhood, and I find joy in that. When
mm.
you have a history of, sexual assault like that, I'm going to resist that because I'm going to find joy in my life. I could be depressed and I could let that define me, and it doesn't, right? Like, I'm going to keep pushing forward and advocating and using my voice. That brings me joy. Even at work, when you're the only one, and there's been some things that have happened that I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Okay,
Mm.
great. So separate myself. That's going on in that realm. What other things can you do? And so I try to bring other elements of joy, whether that be music that I listen to throughout the day, the conversations that I have, the way that I show up in meetings and presentations, like all of those things. Like, you have to definitely um, take inventory of the things that bring you joy, and you just have to keep
Mm,
pushing towards that because life will literally bog you down. Um,
mm,
and I didn't want to be bogged down. I didn't want to be stuck in grief and depression and all of those things. So it was important to me
mm.
that I found things that did genuinely bring me joy in order to kind of push back and redefine what my life looked like despite those things.
Yeah, I love like the distinction there, and what I hear is like a taking of autonomy and choice and deciding what I'm going to like keep and have and allow to affect me and affect what is personal and what I'm trying to honor and cherish in my life. And I think some folks would hear that and be like, well, like you're not really like going through or processing those things, which I don't think is necessarily the same thing. I don't think it's true, and I don't think that's what you're saying at all. But like when I hear you say this, I'm hearing like setting of boundaries. I'm hearing you acknowledging like, you know what, this is not in my control. What is in my control? My music is in my control.
Mhm.
What me and my kids do is in control. How I treat my kids and how I react to certain situations and like how that impacts like how my kids are gonna like. There's so many things that like mentally it takes a very emotionally grounded and a higher level of emotional awareness to do and to navigate that like you just talked through right now. And I I just want to acknowledge that's like dope as
Well, I
hell.
mean, because I always think about that, right? Like, what does processing look like? Like, how do we get to
Hmm.
define and describe what processing looks like for for anybody, right? Like,
Yeah.
just because you're not sitting in a thing doesn't mean that you're not thinking about it, that it hasn't
Yeah.
affected things. Like, you're not, analyze. If you know me personally, you know that I overanalyze everything. So the idea that
Mm,
I'm not processing it, that's completely wrong because
mm,
I think about it often. But what I also know is I know where I came from, and I know that when
mm.
you process and you think about things, that it's easy to get stuck in those moments, and that's where that depression hits, and you can't get out of bed, and you can't eat,
Yeah.
and you can't shower, right? Like, no, I don't want to sit there. I acknowledge that a thing happened, but I also acknowledge that there's so much more on the other side of that thing too, right? Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
traumatic experience, that experience, even if it wasn't traumatic, doesn't have to define everything moving forward. I thought about it. Okay, great. I might still be thinking about it, but also I'm choosing to find peace and joy in other things outside of focusing on that moment. That's just a moment. And I've
Yeah.
survived many hard things. So that's probably just another step in that journey. Okay, great. And I have to also equip myself to prepare myself for the next hard thing and the next hard thing
Yeah.
after that. So we at some point got to build up some kind of resilience to these
Yeah.
things as well.
Exactly. Resilience and perseverance. Like that's the aspect and key right there. Um, there was something that you said that made me think about this, and you talked about like how, and this is a callback, and so I just want to say it because it keeps coming back to my mind, but like on the outside looking in, just like on the focus of like blackness, right? I think oftentimes, and I've heard this said around film and entertainment and like what is popular and what will get funded, what how many movies are about like slavery, how many movies are about like, you know, poor kid grew up in like gang drug and like all that stuff, and like there's very few things on are putting like people, black folks, into context and like living normal life and everyday life, and you know, not struggling or just like or going through an everyday struggle, like having a bad interaction with your boss that has nothing to do with race, or you know, it's just like putting black folks into context. And I think there's something in what you said too around it would be very easy to focus and like stay on all of these like negative things that have happened. Um, not to again not to ignore them or push them away or not process them or whatever, but like it just looks different, right? Like it's there's like a choice there and I just wanted to bring that up because like there was something there that you had said that I was like, oh no, I don't want that to slip away. I think we need to put like black folks are allowed to live normal everyday
Yes.
lives, like we're human beings. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't need to be like we are not all of our trauma, and even some folks have not even experienced this, like even in the US they've just never experienced that. Like that's completely okay, you know what I mean? So I think it's, yeah, just completely okay to be like, god damn it, I'm a mom and I'm a black mom and I just want my kids to have a good damn life, you know what I mean? So
That's one of the
yeah.
things I talk about with my daughter all the time because we talk about like sleepovers and she tells me, Mom, my friend said this to their dad and to their mom. And I'm like, well, you have a black mom. Yes. So, well, that's not going to fly, right?
Yeah,
That's where
absolutely.
that comes into play. Like, you have a black mom, so don't
Yeah.
try what your friends are trying. But at the end of the day, we still have the same struggles. I've got mom friends, regardless of our race, that we're like, our kids
Yeah.
are driving us insane. We're navigating IEPs and 504 plans. We have to figure out pre K for our sons, like all of these things. And that transcends race and everything else. It's just, we have a responsibility. We've got to get it done. Our houses are a mess, the same. Our kids are getting ready for summer and are antsy. That's the same. It doesn't matter. So absolutely. But I love what you said about the depiction of Black people because that is very, very true. I think we have tons of um, non-Black people who would love to dress up as Black Panther and they want to idolize Wakanda and all of those things, right? And Marvel and all those things, and still prescribe to that idea that we started to struggle. And I don't know how old you are, but when I was younger
Yeah.
and we were learning about Black history during that month, um,
Yeah.
we had to watch Roots.
Yeah, no, I watch Roots too.
We
Yeah,
watched
yeah.
Roots, right? So
It's just nuts.
that's
Yeah,
nuts. And I'm like that. And that's
yeah,
where it will tell you that your history started at slavery. Your
yeah,
history started in trauma. And then after that, you have Jim Crow and segregation and all of these things. But
yep,
your people came out of that. And now you can sit here in
yeah,
class with me. No, like what?
yeah.
That's not
They don't talk about Frederick Douglass. They didn't
no.
talk about what is his name? Is it Dr. William Carver or Peanut Man?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So
They don't talk about. Yeah,
side note, recently I just learned about him and his voice and why it was though. And I'm like, he did all those things and had a very traumatic experience. But again, they don't teach you those things, right? They would have you
yeah,
thinking one idea. And so that's why I loved growing up watching the Cosby Show and seeing a two-person household. not a mom that's
Yeah.
struggling trying to raise her kids, two people in the
Yeah.
household that are raising smart kids that go to college. And that was just so exciting. Or living single, where you had
Yeah.
professional Black women that had leadership roles that were out here doing their thing and dressed fabulously and weren't struggling for money or, or begging men to give them a life. But on the same
Yeah.
token, I think also, I think about like Tyler Perry. I really can't stand Tyler Perry. I think that he perpetuates those those ideas now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it,
Hey, he said he went to therapy. He said he went to therapy and it's helping a
because he
lot.
needed it, because these movies,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Something was up. Something was
something
up.
was
Something
up,
was
right?
up.
But
Yeah.
either way,
Yeah.
like we have to change the narrative, and I think that's what I try to do now is have a
Yeah.
certain idea, even in the tech space, of what that Blackness looks like. And
Mm.
I really try to stand strong in that. Like, it's not what you think. Like, not everybody is loud and obnoxious. No, I come to you with, if I said it, I thought through it. I came to you with an
Mm.
intelligent thought. I put my words together. I've taken the time to analyze all of the different pieces of the picture to present something to you. And so I think it's important that, regardless of what the media and everything else says, that we just as people really try to exemplify what does Blackness actually look like. And it's different for all of us, and that's okay. And that's what
Mm.
I love. There's so many different complexities and elements of Blackness that we embrace. As long as you're embracing it, regardless of what flavor it is, just keep embracing it.
Yeah. I love that. You mentioned that you try and do that in like your motherhood. What does joy feel like for you these days?
Yeah.
In your spirit, in your body, but more specifically in motherhood.
What does it feel like? My son,
Another
I
loaded
know it
question for
is,
you.
but it's a good one. These are good questions.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
son, every morning he wakes up and he gives me a kiss on my cheek and he says, "I love you, mommy."
Mm.
I love that. And I love that for a reason. My daughter is very affectionate. She's always hugging me. She's always telling me I'm beautiful. That is, women are nurturers. So I expect that from her. But my son, there's something about Black boys and Black men. And I think about, even as I was growing up, the idea that they have to be strong and they can't be emotional and they have to be all these things. And my son feels everything. So if he
Mm.
loves me, he's going to let me know. If he's mad at me, he's going to let me know. If he's having a tough time, has really big feelings, he comes and he'll just crumble in my arms. And I love that he's so comfortable embracing everything about himself, even at this young
Mm.
age, that I've created a space where he feels safe and that he can do that. That's joyful for me as a mom. I
Mm.
don't want my son to feel like his feelings don't matter, like his experience doesn't matter because of the color of his skin or his gender. Right. And so
Mm.
that's joyful for me. But also on the other side of that, my daughter, she is just literally the apple of my eye. Like, I adore
Yeah.
her. She's my little twin. Because also she's grown with me. As I've grown in this motherhood journey, she's been right there with me. And so she's gone through all the good, the bad, all of those things. And so just our relationship as well, and how happy and grounded she is, that brings me joy. Just the way that they're just their childhood and their freeness
Mm.
and their just everything. I just love that. But what does joy look like in my body? Joy looks like wearing bright color lipsticks. It looks like wearing funky glasses. It looks like listening to Glorilla or listening to, Kirk Franklin before a meeting. It looks like
Mm.
whatever I'm in the mood for, whatever I want to do, because there's been so many times when I've tried to mute myself for other people. I didn't want to speak too loud. I didn't want to wear the loud colors. I didn't want to draw attention to myself. No. And it's not about drawing attention to myself. It's about embracing who I am and what I love. And I love color and I love adventure and music and just all of these things. So that's what joy looks like for me. That's what joy looks like for me. It's just, I love sharing pictures of my kids. I love when they come home and my daughter shows me the same cartwheel she's been trying to do for days. Great. Okay. I do it all the
Amazing.
time. Like, it is what it is. I just love that they feel safe and secure, and that they are having experiences that I didn't always have. My mom was always working, my dad was always working, and they weren't
Mm.
together. So I didn't grow up in this two-person household. And so I saw my mom a lot of the time. She was getting it done, but it was at a cost. And so now
Mm.
that I'm in a different space and have more resources, et cetera, and can give my kids a different life, like, that brings me joy, especially because statistics and everything else should have said something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah. What throughout our conversation, there's something that like comes to mind because motherhood is so important to you, and I think I want to chase this thread a little bit more because I think of all the aspects that I have been looking at around this, because I'm not a parent yet, maybe not, maybe won't be in the traditional sense. Like that's still whatever. That's a side conversation. But I would say I would say like I just like love that, and I think about this idea of like legacy, right? What are the things that we're passing down or leaving? Um, in my own life, I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday or the day before of just like there's like generational curses that I want to break. Like I don't. There's certain things that I just like I'm not wanting to do or experience or have in my household, right? And so I'm curious for you, like when it comes to joy and motherhood, how joy, motherhood, and even legacy, like passing down something, like how do those all like intertwine or relate to each other or correlate um, for you?
You were asking me such great questions.
That's what I do.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So, first of all, motherhood in itself has been both a healing ground and a harvest for me. And
Mm-mm-mm.
it's required great levels of strength. It's required great levels of vulnerability, of faith. Um, and in everything that I do, I really try to turn pain into purpose. So motherhood is incredibly sacred for me, because I think that that's where my joy is cultivated from the most. If I'm being honest, right? Like it has not been easy. Being a single mom is not easy, um, in any sense of the words. But I've chosen to find meaning in the hard stuff. So
Mm-mm.
looking at it as like my kids aren't just my responsibility, right? They are literally my legacy in motion. The
Mm-hmm.
way that I raise them, what I teach them, the values that I set for them, that is literally going to determine how what kind of humans they go into this world and become. So I've started to find joy in every hug. That was very difficult for me, especially with my daughter. Just the way that the first even like 5 or 6 years of her life were, and the relationship that I had with her father, that was hard for me to embrace her. And it wasn't even about her, it was just about everything else that came with her in her
Mm.
existence. But I've tried to find joy in every hug. I've tried to find joy in every hard day, right? I think about every prayer that I've ever whispered over my kids. All of that is sowing seeds into their future and into who they're going to become and the kind of parents that they might become and the wife and husband, or, whatever the case may be that they might become, even if I don't
Mm.
see it, right? But I do believe that will come into very deeply, that will come into fruition. I think also, um, it's the intentionality behind all of it, right? Like despite the
Mm.
grief, despite rejection, despite loneliness, because it can be very lonely being a single mom as well. Um, I know that when I pour into my kids, that I'm laying the foundation that they're going to stand on. That's going to be their example of what motherhood looks like, right? Like you mentioned that you're not a parent yet, but you have a solid example of what parenthood looks like because you saw your mom, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's her legacy. Regardless of how you become that parent, you have the foundation set on what positive examples look like. And I'm assuming that it's the same for your wife, that she has some example of what motherhood and parenthood looks like. So I think
Mm.
that's the biggest thing for me, is just being mindful and intentional about those foundations that I set. Um, and I think also for me, when I think about my own childhood and then I think about theirs, even their laughter reminds me that joy is still possible, right? Like,
Mm. Mm.
regardless of what's going on inside of me, around me, just to hear them laughing and giggling, that literally reminds me that joy is possible still, and everything, right?
Yeah.
And both of my kids, they have complicated relationships with their dads, but even their resilience, right? Like that that reminds me. Um, it reminds me that legacy isn't just about what we leave behind. It's
Mm.
actually what we leave and breathe in the present as well.
Yeah. What we
What
create. I love that.
we create. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's just that intentionality and trying to literally find joy in even the small moments when they should break you. If I pick up one more toy again, that's exhausting to it is, but
I felt that. I felt that.
it is exhausting to me. But the fact that
Yeah.
that they play, that they have things, and it's not a struggle. They don't really know what true struggle is, and I'm glad
Mm,
for them at this point of their life. Obviously, the lessons will have to change as they get older, but now
yeah.
they are free to be kids, and they are literally just kids, and that is so awesome to me.
Maybe I should have asked this before I asked that question, but whatever. But there's two questions I wanna like kind of chase with this. The first one is like, do you think that like in terms of legacy, as far as like parenthood, right? And before I let it go, I just want to say it out loud. Had an ADHD moment. The other question's gone.
Hey, listen, that is me all the time. It'll come back. It will come
Yeah,
back.
dang, and it was a good one. It was a good one too. That thing is gone. Damn. Hold on. No, I kind of want to see. You were talking about, let's see, building intentionality, purpose, building legacy right there, creating legacy. It's gone. All right, let's just stick with the like legacy aspect of this. Like, do you think or consider legacy as you're raising your kids, or um, yeah, like, or is that something that came up for you, or is just like I just want to do something different for them and for them to experience something different?
Legacy didn't come around till later. I didn't think about the concept of
Okay.
legacy. I just wanted something different. Actually, let's
Yeah.
even back up. It wasn't even about I just wanted something different. I just wanted them to survive. I just wanted to make it. I literally was like, when I first had my daughter, I was in survival mode. I was
Mm,
unemployed, then I was underemployed, and I was just like, I just need to. And her dad told me something that stuck with me. Right, he said that I wouldn't be able to do it on my own, and so that
wow.
stuck with me. And I literally was just like, I'm going to do this thing. So we were just surviving. I didn't know what that looked like. I was at one point raising her in my old childhood bedroom at my mom's house, but we were doing it.
Yeah.
And so then things got better. I had a better job. I was making more money. And then I got pregnant with my son. And then that turned into, okay, great. Now I've got two kids,
Mm,
and we're not really still in that struggle mode. We're a little bit better off. And then the relationship with his dad was crumbling, and so I was like, okay, now I just want it to be different, right? Like I grew up, I had an excellent childhood in my mind. I loved it.
mm,
My grandparents were very present. My parents, my aunts, it literally, you talk about a village. I still to this day have the village around me. So I grew up with my cousins. We were siblings, and that was the nature of it. So that's what I knew.
mm,
I didn't realize that that was legacy until much later in life. But either way, that's what I knew, and that's what I wanted to give my kids. I wanted them to have that family surrounding them, regardless of what was going on in the world or even within us. Like they still had that, and so it was important to me that they had that element. But then there were the other elements of my childhood too that I didn't want them to have. So my parents weren't together. We lived in one town. My dad lived in a different one. And when I started kindergarten, I didn't even realize that mommies and daddies lived together. I didn't realize that that was a
mm-hmm.
thing, right? Like
Yeah.
every relationship that I saw growing up was broken. Like, we were kind of together, but we maybe probably shouldn't be together. It was unhealthy, or we were divorced, or we were separated, or living like all these things. So that's what I saw. And so then when it came to the point where I wasn't with either one of their fathers, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I gotta break this cycle. This can't
Mm,
be the cycle. And so then there were times when I would speak curses on my own motherhood journey because I'm like, "Ugh, my kids have they have come from a broken home. There is absolutely nothing broken about our family side. That everything right now, my kids feel so loved. If you ask them, there is absolutely
mm-hmm.
nothing that they are missing or that they are lacking. They feel so loved. And so now I'm like, okay, That's legacy. That regardless of what's going on, that is what you really came from. Regardless of what the examples were from a relational standpoint, you still had family around you. You still have family that you can call on and count on today. That is the legacy piece that you grew up under. That's what you want to leave with them. And so my kids are very close. They know that regardless of who's whatever, you two are what you have each other. And you
Yeah.
need to honor that. And so those are the lessons that I'm teaching them. And they're so close with my sister, and she just is like their second mom. And so she
Mm.
raises them. So she doesn't play either. She's a black auntie. Okay, great. Like
Yeah.
they that's awesome for me. Like that is the legacy piece now that I can focus on. We're out of the struggle. We're not just trying to survive. Now we're trying to
Yeah.
thrive. And so finding appreciation even when things don't look like the traditional sense. And that actually will occur for you as well, right? Regardless of how you do
Yeah.
parenthood, even if it's non-traditional, like you get to define that. What does that even mean? Like who cares? Like this is our unit. This is where we are. This is our family and our values and what we stand for.
Mm.
So yeah, I think that
I love that.
that
I love that. The thing that I noticed too is that you're also like showing them how to do things differently, right? Like I think that like they have the know-how, they have the power, like the the autonomy, like all the things to like if you see something, you actually can make a change and do something differently in your life. Like you don't have to allow things to happen and like allow things to happen to you. Like something happens, like you can make a decision and like make a choice on what you can control and do what you can, right? And I think that that's like a powerful lesson too. One that as you're talking, like I recognize for myself, like that was given to me. That was something that was like a beautiful lesson that I learned. One, that my mom taught us how to have resilience, like a shit ton of resilience and perseverance, because it was not easy. It was very, very difficult. And my mom had me at 15,
oh
so
one
we grew up together. Like me and my mom are very, very close. Um, and then uh, and then I think about like joy. Like last year I did this like self-assessment, like what are my values? Was it last year? Whatever. I did it. And one of the ones that came up is joy. And I was like, I just came up with this on my own. That's not true. Like joy has been like passed down and is like that is the legacy that's been passed down in my family over and over and over again. Community is one of those things that have been passed down over and over and over again. Like if you come into our home, like we will treat you with with respect. We'll care for you. Like you'll have a warm bed. Like we'll listen to you. We'll feed you. Like that. Those are the kinds of things that like my mom did, my grandma did, my great grandma did, and I just didn't realize like that was the thing that I was doing, and it just happens. It just happened. Like, I don't know if that was something that like I gotta ask my mom if that was something that was intentional, right? But I know there was some things about that was unintentional, but there was things that about that was intentional. Like when somebody comes in our home, you don't treat them like that, right? Like
oh
you do not treat somebody like that. You do not treat somebody like bad, right? There's like random people my mom met in high school. We always had somebody live with us, and so like there was somebody my mom met, and like they just clicked, and every single time they just clicked, and they were a couple, and they were going through it, and so like I moved in the room with my brother, and they moved into our house and stayed with us till they were able to get back on their feet. And like older Mexican couple, this woman made the best like pozole and all that stuff. She cooked. I was like, oh, they were like, we can't pay you, but we'll do all this other stuff. And like Theo clean, hooked up my mom's car, made sure it was running right, all kinds of stuff. They stayed with us for like 6 months, and they were able to go out and move back with their family in Texas. And so like I think that there's like different things that I've experienced in my life where I'm like, God damn, like I dream to be able to do that for folks. And like I want to like continue to do that and like that be the legacy
yes.
that we do. And I'm really thankful that I'm like that is a value in our house. And just like so unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I gotta ask my mom. I keep saying unintentionally, but like it's just I'm so glad that I have that. I like value it so much. You know what I mean? I thought I almost had the question back. That's what that was, but
No,
it's just gone, man. That question's just
it'll
gone.
it'll
Sorry,
come
I'll
back.
stop
Listen,
talking.
it'll come back.
Yeah.
And no, I love what you said about the community and the whether it was intentional or unintentional, it happens. I think that's just a black culture thing, cultural thing.
Yeah.
Like, you come to a barbecue, you're gonna get a plate, you're gonna leave full, you're gonna get a laugh. You might be at the card table. Like I think that's what I love about us, is that we are going to embrace people. I can tell you every Thanksgiving up until the last maybe a few years, we've always had somebody new at the table,
Mm,
which I loved. I just love that we just embrace them. Like you said, if you needed a bed, we've had people come stay, and my aunt especially, she is big on just what do you need? You need a bed, you need food, you need clothes, like whatever. And I just love that, and I think that those are definitely. I want to have that as well, and that is part of that legacy. And then I also think about like the other things too. I mentioned about the examples of relationships. And so even now, like my daughter's father, we're now co-parenting, and that
mm,
and showing her that regardless of how you start doesn't have to be how you finish, and the importance of that. Um, and he has a presence in her life, and so I love that example too, right? Like that you can still have um, parents that come together and for you, and they're advocating for you, and they care about you even though it didn't work out in other aspects. And I love
mm,
that she's seeing that example too. So, I mean, legacy is huge. I think, for my family, it was very intentional on both sides. Like they just,
mm,
that's just who we are, and that's been ingrained in me. So I never questioned it. Like that was just
mm.
natural. But
Yep.
then there's also some other things too that I wanted to change, and I'm glad that I did.
Yeah. I like that. What, um, hmm. What do you want your children to know about joy?
Yeah.
Not just what it looks like, but maybe what it feels like. And I think even more importantly, and I don't know. To me, I was like, what, like having joy, what it's worth.
I think the most important thing that I would want them to know is that they deserve joy.
Mm,
I think a lot of times when we think about the Black experience, and especially even today, right? Like they're literally, this administration is literally trying to erase Blackness.
mm-hmm,
Um, I want them to know that they deserve joy, that you are worthy of having joyful moments, that your life does not have to be steeped in trauma or grief or anything like that. So that would probably be the biggest thing. But then I also want them to find an appreciation that joy can look like whatever you want it to look like for you.
mm,
Um, so my son, he loves to play with the kitchen set because he likes the idea of cooking, and I love cooking. And that is one of the times when I find the most joy is cooking a meal, especially if I'm cooking a meal for other people. Um,
mm-hmm,
but I think that we can sometimes put labels on things, and try to uh, we try to shift people's identities and narratives based off of different things that they like. And I don't want them to be caught in that. Like it doesn't matter what society is saying about whatever it is that brings you joy. If it brings you joy, I want you to embrace it. If it's cooking a
mm,
meal, if it's going for a walk, if it's drawing pictures, if it's acting, singing, tech, helping people, in the community, providing meals, like whatever that looks like for you, I just want you to do it. um,
mm-hmm,
there's so many times in life where you're going to struggle, and you're going to feel
mm-hmm,
pain, and you're going to feel all those things, but I also want you to latch on to joy,
mm-hmm,
so that you don't get stuck there. But that's probably the biggest thing, is just like joy can look like whatever you want it to look like. Um,
mm,
one, two, that just hold on to it, because it will. There's lots of things that will try to steal that from you. Don't let them steal it. But then also just the idea that you deserve it. Like you deserve to have genuine joy. It doesn't matter what happened to you, where you came from, what I say, anything like that. You
mm.
deserve to have joy. So I think those are probably the three things I would leave them.
I like that. I like that. Um, is there anything you want to ask me? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. I no, I really appreciate that aspect there. Like the piece around like you deserve joy. I don't know why like that's like a powerful reminder. I do know. It's like I think our misconceptions about what joy is, our expectation about what joy is, what we're told joy is. Like, there's a lot of things about that just feel out of reach, that feel like joy is a privilege, rather than something that like is attainable wherever you are. And like nobody should have the power to take it and like or steal it or block it off or anything like that. And like you can really like hold on to it, like, or you can access it. You can there's somewhere you can access it, you know. um and to say like, and to reinforce and to instill and to empower and to encourage that joy, like you deserve joy, I think is just really just like a really powerful thing. And so I think, do I have it written here? No, I don't. I might like write it somewhere, but I feel like that is like a beautiful, beautiful lesson, not only for kids to know, even though I really want kids to know that, especially right now, kids are like going through it like emotionally.
They really are. And
Yeah,
that's very heartbreaking for me. And so that's
yeah,
why, whether it's my own kids or whoever, and this can even go for adults, right? Like you can
yeah,
literally choose joy, right? And you don't have to choose the kind of joy that pretends that pain doesn't exist or that it's okay. Like you literally can choose joy that literally is just saying, I'm going to be kind to myself, I'm going to be kind to others, and I'm not going to let pain have the final say, right? Um,
yeah,
and I also want them to try to find joy in the non-conventional things too. So
yeah.
find joy in gratitude, find it in laughter when you want to cry, or maybe when you are crying, right? Like joy is found in literally holding on to hope. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's found in just loving deeply, right? Whether that be your partner, your spouse, your children, your friends. Like I find joy greatly in just loving deeply. And um, going back to the start of it, like just remembering who you are and whose you are, right? Like I just want them to know, not only do you deserve it, but like joy is literally your birthright. It's not something that
Yeah,
you have to earn. Like it's just received, and you need to
yeah.
protect that, right? So, um, to your point, like joy should be their resistance, joy should be their healing, um,
Mm,
and joy should be their legacy. Like I want their legacy to be joy.
mm. Shit. Well, that's it. We don't need. I ain't gonna say nothing else. That was a great. That was a great. That was a great ending. I don't need nothing else. Nothing else. That was good. We gonna land the plane right there. No, that was. I mean, that's it. Like that's the thing that I'm like trying to really like push for. That I'm fighting for. That like I am reinforcing in my own life. And even when I talk to my clients, whether it be individual, organizationally, I like that is something that like it is so. Joy is one of the most human things that we can experience. Like with the joy is one of the most human things that we could experience, and like one of the most beautiful things, because it can be in this, just like you said, the small, minute, whatever obscure thing, or it can be in this grand like it just it could do the same thing to you. It doesn't have to be like that experience. So that's it. Like, god damn it. That's it. That's your joy is your birthright. That's what the name of this episode is gonna be. But I so appreciate you for coming through, Tam. Like, this has been so fun. Really grounding and refreshing conversation. I loved every second of it. This was so nice.
Same. This was such a this is a great conversation, a great topic. I'm glad that you're doing the series on joy because people really need to find it again. I think
Mm.
especially. So I'm excited. This was awesome.
Yes, awesome. One question I've been asking every single guest, and you talked about it a little bit, but what is currently bringing you joy in this season of life?
Yeah, so I'm using my voice. So I've had some great speaking opportunities. I just spoke with the Co op Fellowship a few days ago, talking to some new tech ready leaders getting ready to come into the workspace about just resilience and finding joy in the workspace. And so I've got some other speaking engagements coming up. Listen, I'm out here and I have things to say and people want to hear it. Great. Thank you. I'm
Yeah, you outside.
I'm
You outside. I love
outside.
it.
I'm outside. So I spend a lot of time just being hidden and muted. And it's this new level of confidence and this new level of, no, you deserve to be in these spaces and these tables and opportunities and doors that are opening. Like that's bringing me such joy. And the sun is shining. So summertime is, well, spring is here, but summertime will be out
Yeah.
upon us soon, and getting outside with my kids and I'm just happy. I'm just good.
I love it. I love that. All right. And then finally, like, what would you say to someone who feels that joy is out of reach? We talked about, passing down a legacy. Even talked about like joy being your birthright. Like, you deserve joy.
Yeah.
But what would you say? Would there be anything else that you would say to somebody who feels that joy is out of it, but wants to still believe that like it's possible for them?
Yeah. Um, oh man. So there were definitely seasons when joy felt out of reach for me. It was buried under many different things. But what I learned from that, and what I would want anyone to remember, is that joy isn't always loud. It's not always instant. Like sometimes joy is just a quiet breath, right? It's a moment of peace when everything else is chaotic around you. Um, it's that smile that you choose to still give, even the small one, despite the heaviness that's inside of you. Like all of that counts, and it still counts, right? Like you don't have to chase joy, you create it. You
Mm-hmm.
can build it from the small things. Like if the warm sunlight brings you joy, that's awesome, right? If it's good music, if it's um, just a word of encouragement from someone that deeply loves you, like whatever it is, even when it feels far away, it's never fully gone, right? Like
Mm.
it can wait for the right time, the right moment, um, even sometimes silently, but it's always there faithfully. So I think the biggest thing is just when life tries to steal your light, that they just realize where they came from. Again, you've already survived hard things, right? Like you come from people and someone who fought to find joy again. You can do that too. Um,
Mm.
Create it, whatever that looks like for you. Just don't, it doesn't have to be grand. It just even in the small things, just create that joy for yourself, and hold on to the fact that regardless of how you feel today, joy is not out of your reach. You can still get it. It's still there. It's deep inside of you because it is your birthright. So you just have to dig deep.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Where can folks find you, listen to you, you outside and doing stuff? Like
Yeah.
where can folks tap in what you got going on?
So they can see a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. I share a lot of different things, and I talk about lots of different topics. So LinkedIn probably is where you can get an idea of what I'm doing. But if you just want to get to know me personally, IG for sure. Um,
Mm.
you can see my kids and my life, my joyful life with my kids, but you also have a glimpse into just like the behind the scenes stuff about all these different engagements. So Instagram, the real Tam, so with two E's, so the real Tam on Instagram, or Tamara Wall on LinkedIn.
Awesome. All right, there it is. Y'all, thank you so much for tapping in. This was Tam. This was a wonderful conversation. There's a voicemail, just like hearing you give that encouragement that my mom sent me just randomly, that I think I'm gonna plug into this episode, because it happened right when I needed. She didn't even say anything. She just said, "I was thinking about you. I love you. Everything's gonna be okay. You got it. You got
You
it."
got
And
it. That's it.
that's it. It was 30-second voicemail. Immediately started crying. So, you
That's it,
know,
right?
you know what I mean. So just I'll try and sneak that into this show. I think some folks will, come to it and hear my mom's voice and just feel the love. Well, I know they felt the love when you were talking about it, but I feel the love in the episode. So appreciate you, Tam. This is so
Thank you
wonderful.
for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
Yeah. So, at the risk of getting a text or a very interesting phone call from my mom, it was her birthday recently, and she turned 50. She turned 50, 50. She'll know what she did. Anyways, we all got together and celebrated her. And it was a really good time. Like my mom, she gets really reflective around like birthdays, not only for herself but for us too. And it was really cool to just celebrate like such a big milestone. And one of the things that we did was we wanted to, just affirm her, call out some stuff. It's a big number. You did it, yada, yada, yada. But before we even open up our mouths to like share, my mom like burst into tears. Like it was already building. I could tell. She like lost it. And one of the things that she was reflecting on, and probably had been reflecting on throughout the weeks or days leading up to her birthday, was that like 50 is a milestone, like half a century. And there are a lot of instances in her life, and I can attest to this just as me, Jonathan, being there from jump when she had me at 15, that like it is literally like a miracle, and by the grace of God, that she is here, that she's alive, that she is with us, like in our lives, that she raised myself and my brothers to be the people that we are, and to have like this life. And I mean, that'll never leave me, like that reflection that my mom had. And as I like reflected back on her birthday, but also listening back to this conversation with Tamara, I'm just reminded of like just how incredible, my mom's is. Like just literally how incredible she is. And I told her that, just being there from jump, like being able to see the growth and change and evolution of my mom. And despite everything that she experienced, has gone through, done, that she still raised me and my brothers as best she could, obviously, but with such love and warmth and care and intention and joy. Like anytime y'all see me smiling and laughing and giving space and room for people, and just even how I like just perceive and look at the world, like a large part of that is like due to my mom's influence and how she cares for people and how she loves people, and how she raised us, to be honest. And there's other influences there, but I've asked her this, where does that come from? Where does that happen? Like all this stuff. Or asked her, she's told me that's come from her elders, right? That's been passed down from her. The same like outlook on life, the same love and care for people, the same just like joy to give freely, to open up our home, all these things is like that was passed down. And as me and Tamara were talking about like this idea of just this like legacy, and passing that down and intentionally sharing like these things that we want those that come after us to have. Like I'm reminded of this, and like how beautiful of a concept that is, right? Like these intangible things, that this is also a part of our legacy, that we can give these things to those that come after us. And so I'm just reminded of that, and I'm so grateful for my mom, for all the other parents that I've had in my life. And so I want to dedicate this episode to my mom, to all you parents out there, whether traditional, non-traditional, unconventional, all that stuff, that like you are doing great work. You are doing great work, and I appreciate you. I see you, and you are giving something to those that come after us, that nobody can take away. And I want you to know that. So thank you. Yeah. That's it, y'all. This is a great episode. Shout out to Tamara Wall. All of her contact information is going to be below in the show notes. Hit her up, connect with her. She's a wonderful human being. As I mentioned, we are going to be showing up in your feeds a little bit sporadically. No set cadence as far as like on the audio feed. On the YouTube feed, we'll be a little bit more consistent, working on some stuff that is going to be coming out in the next few weeks. But if you want to keep up with everything and know what's going on with us, subscribe. Subscribe to us on the audio feed, subscribe to us on our YouTube feed, and I promise you there is an announcement. If you don't want to miss it, there's an announcement that is coming in the next few weeks around when our newsletter will drop. And it will drop. I've already written stuff. I already told y'all that. It's coming. So if you don't want to miss that, go ahead and sign up and subscribe to our YouTube audio. And I think there is a subscription link down below for the newsletter if you want to catch the first newsletter. So catch that. All right. That's it, y'all. This episode was produced by myself, Jonathan Dumas. Additional production and editing by Reginald the Intern Hall. Special shout out again to my guest, Tamara Wall. And also all you parents out there. Shout out y'all. Take care, y'all. Be safe. Care for one another. Love one another. That's it. Till next time, y'all. Peace.
Hello, son. I just wanted to let you know that God had you on my heart this morning. And I wanted to let you know that everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to work out. I love you so very much. Call me when you can.